Hi, for the sake of not sounding so redundant in this video, I did mention this a couple videos ago, and it's a strange phenomenon, relief, but feeling bad at the same time. What I mean by this is I've mentioned the difference between perception, understanding, and your feelings, and how those things can obviously come in conflict and cause some cognitive dissonance. And I think in many cases the cognitive dissonance that you have is the function and the sort where the thing where the confusion you have, the good but bad feeling, the conflicting feeling in many cases can be the thing that causes the indecisiveness, can be the thing that causes so much pain and suffering in many people. And that could be the thing that causes so much conflict, at least psychologically when it comes to a person's feelings, sensation, function. It can be one of those things that can cause a lot of problems. In many cases, that's where it comes from. A cognitive dissonance is one of those things that causes strange feelings. It's about looking at the good, I guess is the way I can mention this, to make this distinction between the other video I made is, the good feeling, the cognitive dissonance. I feel good, but I kind of feel bad. And that me feeling good makes me realize just how the good can't make me feel all that good anyway. So I feel good, but I realize the good that I'm feeling is just a superficial coating, icing over the real cake, and the cherry goo-filled cake in the middle that really just shows my real feelings. And the real feeling is the recognition, the knowledge. I feel good, and it's on the surface. It's where everyone can see it. It's where it's easy to see, but the real weight, the real function is in the middle where all the goo is. That's where the real poundage comes from. It's where all the weight is, and the function in the middle. And the icing on the outside, it's the illusion over the cake. It's sort of like you understand life sucks and how completely obnoxious and impositionist it is. How much, it's a complete conflict. The conflict exists in reality and exists in you, and the fact that it exists in you having this internal conflict shows just how much it can have an issue on you. And it shows that it exists in and of itself because you can't even feel good without feeling like crap on top of that. At least when you make these cognitive recognitions. So yeah, it's one of those, it's like the thin icing over the cake. The icing, it weighs a little bit and you can see it, and that's where it's easiest to see. And but it's the illusion over the real weight of the cake, and it's about the cognitive dissonance and recognizing, oh well, I have the relief, I feel satisfied, this strange sensation where I feel good. Relief. Obviously, what we're all after is relief, right? We're all after our own satisfaction. Um, but, yeah, I guess I was kind of mixing up two different topics, but I guess I'll just go on this relief thing, not relief thing, but this good but bad thing too. So yeah, the good but bad thing is the cognitive dissonance. It's about looking past realizing just how much the good can't really help the bad. Um, so you can feel good but feel bad too, and that's usually cognitive dissonance. And when you have the dissonance, it usually comes from feelings of indecisiveness, taking the good sides and the bad sides, and realizing how the good isn't always going to help you make the bad go away. And when you feel good, and even in many cases where the good make you feel like I've mentioned this before, make the bad all the more obvious. At least when you feel kind of normal or you feel kind of deprivated, you're not risking as much when you're not taking as much of a risk on the extremes. Or like I mentioned before, saving a person from a fire, you're taking more extremes on the other side. But when you feel really good or you recognize something really good and you're having this dissonance problem, you're realizing the good isn't going to save you from the bad. It makes the good almost seem frivolous because the good doesn't seem, not only is it not saving you from the bad, it's almost in a way exacerbating the bad, making it worse, because you realize that the good in your life is very frivolous and there's only avoiding bad. And once you realize the best you can get is avoiding the bad, it makes it all seem all very pointless. It's like running into a brick wall and there's nothing left for you to do but stare at the brick wall for the rest of your life, for eternity, almost having that thought in the back of your mind where there's no other function but to stare at the wall, and there's nothing else for you to do. And if anything, there's only you staring at the wall and getting hungry and getting a backache. And that's all there is. And your throat hurts too, like mine. There's only pain looking at the wall. I mean, this isn't really all we're doing. It's either pain, it's either I'm getting hungry, let me eat some potato chips, My back hurts, let me take my aspirin, or let's stare at the wall and get the satisfaction that we all are staring at too, but some of us just imagine the writing on the walls. We all, and only most of us are imagining graffiti moving around on the walls. We think there's something beyond the wall. Okay, there's a wall right here. And many people are looking at something like there's the illusion, okay, the blue sky, whatever inspires you, like I mentioned before, there's a wall. A white wall with paint on it or a wall, the dead end wall. There's a dead end wall, right? And you're staring at it. Only most people view it as if there's something you could stick your hand in, the magic painting on the wall where you can jump in and live the life. In many cases, that's what the blue sky is. That's what the sun is. That's what all these things are. They have an effect, but their effect doesn't serve any function other than the same old process over and over again. Obviously, the sun does things, but the inspiration that you get from it, the feelings, the positive feelings, other than, oh, satisfaction, that's all you're getting. Um, and you're satisfied by just eating the potato chips you have here and the aspirin you're taking to take care of your achy back before you just fall dead because your back ends up just snapping and you die or whatever it is that ends up, metaphorically killing you. Um, you're just getting that satisfaction from those things as opposed to the sun shining or whatever. As you're staring at the wall and you're imagining the graffiti moving around. You're just your minds, and it's about getting rid of all these delusions. And I guess that's a good way of looking at it. We're all looking at a blank wall. It's just some of us are imagining something on the blank wall, and some of us are just looking at the blank wall for what it is. Or we just can't help looking at the blank wall for what it is. And we're just looking at it, and some of us are imagining it as the magic painting on the wall where we see 3 dimensions and we can see everything as it means everything, but doesn't really mean anything, and the only thing that means anything is the bag of potato chips. And the aspirin, you get the high from the aspirin, you feel kind of good, but also you take care of your backache, and that's all you're doing while you stare at the wall and makes things a little more vivid for you. And that's all you're doing is looking at the blank wall and eating your potato chips when you get hungry, once you get hungry enough, and taking your aspirin once your backache gets too bad, or your ibuprofen, or your penicillin, or you're doing one of those things. You're staring at the blank wall, and it's about getting rid of the delusions or projections of value. You're projecting hallucinations. You're projecting graffiti or you're projecting the markings, the drawings on the wall that keep on moving around to make life seem like it has more meaning. In reality, you touch it and it's just a wall. You touch it and there's a boundary. Or you touch it and it's just you're projecting the midair and there's nothing there. Or you're projecting in front of the wall and there's nothing there, and you just realize, okay, I'm projecting 2 feet in front of the wall. You're seeing all those things, and then you realize there's nothing here. Okay, I touch past my projection. Wait, there's nothing here. There's just a wall, and there's only a wall, and you realize the projection just came from something projecting in front of you. It's just thin air based on a programming of computerized nonsense, computerized programming projecting based on a screen filter or whatever it is, reflection lens. And then that's all it is. It's just a bunch of components creating into one. I mean, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean something. It's still projection. I mean, it's still what you're perceiving. It's still the thing that you obviously only have your psychology with it. That's all it is. In the end, you're only looking at a blank wall. The projection goes away, and you're just looking at the wall for what it is. And that's all it is a blank wall, and that's all we're looking at. I eat your potato chips, and you're full now, and you're satisfied. And I guess it's time to take a nap, and that's all we're doing. And so you can wake up and look at the blank wall again and hope to see something, but once you don't see anything, you're just sort of stuck staring at the blank wall, and the projector broke and there's nothing else to do. And that's what happens. Projector's breaking. You still project value, but there's no fooling yourself now. You're not going to be seeing past it. You're not going to feel like it's something you could see, and you're seeing in 3 dimensions, and you feel like you could touch through. And I mean, that's the magic people feel exists. It's the magic painting. You feel like there's a mystery behind the magic painting of the wall, but it's just a projection in front of a blank wall that you can do nothing but, break your arm trying to punch against or something. It's going to be a tangible wall. There's nothing you can do. And that's exactly what we're doing. You're going to eat your potato chips. You're going to take your ibuprofen. You're going to you're going to get drowsy, take a nap, wake up, do the same thing over and over again. But the projector's broken now, and you're stuck looking at a blank wall eating your potato chips. And that's what it's like, really. That's all you're doing. I'm going insane. I'm looking at a wall. I'm eating my potato chips, and I'm taking my pain medication. And that's all you're stuck doing at this point once you've realized these things. So yeah, I guess is that all I wanted to mention? Yeah, like I mentioned, cognitive dissonance and all that stuff. I've already mentioned it, so yeah, I don't want to go redundantly over this again. So yeah, I've mentioned this before, and I mentioned it a little more thoroughly now. It's just a blank wall, and there's a projector, and it's broken. You're just staring at the wall, and there's nothing you do but touch the wall, and there's nothing beyond that. So yeah, you eat your potato chips, take your pain medication, take a nap, stare at the wall some more, then die. Have fun, right? Dream of sex and love and drug, rock and roll and whatever. I mean, it doesn't mean anything in the end. So yeah, until next time, bye.